Hey boys and girls, welcome to tonight's video on fractions. This week we are going to be spending the majority of our week working with fraction strips and some other really fun things just to kind of get a renewed feeling for fractions. So as you see my picture here, try to think of some fractions that you can make from either the shirts or the soccer players. And write a couple of them down in your journal. Bring them with you to class tomorrow. I have a great riddle for tonight's video from one of you, but you didn't put your name on it, so I can't give you credit. So here's the riddle. What animal do people hate sitting next to when they're taking a test? And I will give you the answer at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and just get the definition of a fraction. So a fraction is part of a whole. Make sure you copy that into your journal along with the definition of a numerator and a denominator. So a numerator is the top number in the fraction and it's the number of parts. The denominator is the bottom number and it's equal to the number of equal parts the whole is split into. So if I write this fraction, 5/7, it would take 7 parts to make my whole, and I only have 5 of them. So I don't have a whole part, a whole thing. I have a fraction of the whole. Again, this fraction right here, 3/4, takes 4 parts to make the whole, and I have 3 of those parts. So I have a fraction of a whole. All right. Now, fractions just aren't circles. You made your fraction strips in class. So here's what your fraction strips look like. This is 1. The red pieces were halves. Your purple pieces are 1/3. The yellows are 1/4. The oranges are 1/6. And we have 1/8. 1/12 and 1/16. So you could probably even look. Let's see if we can find some fractions that are different but take up the same space. So if I have 1/4 and 1/4, can you see that it takes up the same space as 1/2? That's one of the things we'll be working with a lot this year, is this concept. Now what we're talking about is equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same value but look different, such as 1/3, 2/6, and 4/12. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to split this into 3 equal parts. One of the things I tell my students every year is when I draw, your job is to imagine that when I say they're equal parts, that they actually are. So, you see that? They're 3 equal parts. I'm going to shade in one of them yellow. So you can see that I have 1/3 of my shape highlighted or shaded in. Now, look what happens. If I take my pen and I split this bar in half, now, instead of there being 1/3, 1 out of 3, I now have 6 pieces, and a 2/6 takes up the same amount of space. But what would happen if I were to go back in and split each one of these into 2 parts? Alright, so now let's count the number of parts it would take to make the whole thing. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 parts that make up the whole. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them shaded. So again, you can see that 4/12. I didn't change how much I had shaded in the actual area. I just changed the size of the parts and the number of parts there are. So that would, you can see that 1/3, 2/6, and 4/12 are equivalent fractions. Plus there's going to just be a whole bunch that could be equivalent to 1/3. So that's all we're going to do for a video tonight. Tomorrow and the rest of the week, the videos are going to be actually introductions to games that we're going to be playing in class. So, here is our riddle. What animal do people hate sitting next to when they're taking a test? Of course, it's a cheetah. See you in class tomorrow.